Thanks for joining us, listeners. It is a beautiful day with a beautiful person in studio. We are so happy to welcome Billie Jean Crawford back, and she is, of course, our Executive Director of Horizon Hospice, our completely volunteer local hospice in our community. And Billie, it's such a delight to see you today.
Thank you for having me, Lori. It's a delight to be here. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much. And this is a chance to get caught up on what's new with Horizon Hospice, what we can obviously expect from this now legacy, part of our community. And we could probably start just by reminding people that we are an all-local hospice.
We're the community hospice. We're kind of grassroots, true blue hospice. Started way back when with volunteers just giving out of their heart and have time to help families at the end of their life, when they have a loved one at the end of their life, I should say. And so we're still striving and helping people in our community. It's a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing. It's as strong as the volunteers and the giving hearts. And we're hoping to appeal to you right now because I know that you have a training coming up, and this is an opportunity.
We do have a training coming up. It's February 26th and 27th. It's from 9 to 3. It's quite the training. It's a lot of great information. We have some different presenters. And so we really need some direct care volunteers. So that's what we're here for today.
So who makes a good direct care volunteer? Obviously, when you hear hospice, some people get a little nervous, right? They're not sure they're up for the task.
100%. And I understand that because I started 28 years ago as a volunteer for Horizon Hospice. So I completely understand that. And really, just about anyone would be a fit to be a volunteer. Have to be 18 or older, and just have the heart and the time. It's like just taking care of a neighbor at the end of their life. I always look at it as what a privilege. Like, how can I not do this? So if someone is terminal and they have a very short time on this earth, which none of us know that, right? But if someone, it appears that they have a very short window here and they are opening up their home to someone for an hour or 2 or 3 hours, what a beautiful experience and a privilege, and it's just amazing.
And from all the conversations that we've had and some of the experiences in my life, if there are those days, they become very purposeful, right, Billie Jean? And that's why the volunteers can be so helpful in helping families achieve the end-of-life goal.
Absolutely. It does become very, very purposeful and very almost inclusive in their home, where they get to the point where they don't really care what's going on outside their home. It just comes right, shrinks right down sometimes into a room. So if we can provide a volunteer that just comes with an empty briefcase, nothing preconceived, they just come and be present and just be there for them, it's just amazing what can happen.
So we've got the training coming up February 26th and 27th, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. both days. I imagine it's going to be at the hospice offices?
Yes, it is. It's at 1250 Lamoille Highway, Suite 413. We would ask for you to register beforehand because we provide a continental breakfast and a delicious lunch. Because if you're going to spend the day with us, we want to spoil you a bit and feed you some breakfast and some lunch. And so we would just ask if you would call the office, which I'll give you the number and we'll probably go over that again. But the number is 775-778-0612.
And what is training like, Billie Jean?
Training is 2 full days. It starts with the role of the volunteer. The first morning we have a couple volunteers that are there and present and just talk about really what they do or what they have done as a volunteer. And then we break it out. We have a talk about death and dying and bereavement care. We have spiritual care for the dying, reflective listening, boundary settings. So there's a gamut of different things we talk about. It's a wonderful training. I've had people come and say, even if I didn't volunteer, this is just great information.
It can help anyone, everyone, as you said, families, because when it gets down to it, Billie Jean, we're all on that journey of life and end of life.
We are, and so that's where we come in to help guide those families and just hold that person's hand. Of course, we have to let it go at the end just like anyone else, but if we can just go and prop those families up and make sure they're cared for, it's just amazing that these people just come and they give because they can give.
Mm-hmm. And we have talked to many volunteers, and I know you included as the director, Billie Jean, about just how it enhances someone's quality of life. That fear sort of slips away, and sure, you experience emotions, but you're able to sort of realize maybe a full life or a fuller life.
Absolutely, a fuller life, I think, is a beautiful way to put it. When you go and you just give, there is not many days, if any days, that I don't walk away from meeting with someone that, like I said, their journey here on earth looks like it's shortened, that I don't learn something or my heart isn't bigger because of it. It's just, and our volunteers are the heart of hospice, and we can't do what we do without them.
Talking with Billie Jean Crawford. She's the executive director of Horizon Hospice in our community. So we talked about the training, the offices located on the Moyle Highway, the grief support groups meet there, and we can talk about that too, Billie Jean. But people may be wondering, so is hospice a place in Elko?
Hospice has an office, but true hospice is done in home, where people are comfortable. And so we just go to their home. We can also go to the hospital, or we can go to the nursing home. But a lot of times it's done right in their home. But we meet them wherever they're at. Because I realize sometimes we want everybody to stay at home. But sometimes that's just not possible.
And you support families along the way. That's also probably just as important as helping the person experiencing the end of life.
I think it is. I think guiding those families not only helps the families, but honestly, it helps the person that's dying know that their families will be taken care of, or someone's there for them, someone's answering their questions and supporting them. It's very important.
And then sometimes when people think about hospice, again, we're talking about Horizon Hospice in our community. Now, how many decades? Because you've been 28, so...
Yeah, so it started 37 years ago.
Wow.
In a living room, talking about how the needs of the death and dying really in our community could use some support and some help. And so that's where that all started.
And there's a very strong conviction with this group that Horizon Hospice remain as independent as possible, right, Billie Jean?
Yes, that's been a huge mission from our director before I was the director, that we stay as an all non-profit, all volunteer hospice. That was really truly her mission. And so we kind of patchwork that together with one of the local Medicare hospices. So we come alongside because honestly, sometimes a lot of people want the nursing part and we don't do the skilled. We provide something that's just as essential as that guidance at the end of life, what may happen, how it may look, and a volunteer. So that's all very important.
And then what about the idea of some sort of a religious affiliation? We know for many families and those experiencing this, it can be a spiritual journey, but does it necessarily mean a religious journey?
No, it doesn't. We come, like I say, with an empty briefcase. We talk about spiritual care for the dying. We have Father Liam that sits on our board. But whatever their journey looks like, we want to meet them right there. And that's very important, that we leave our preconceived notions, our beliefs on the doorstep, because it's really the person that's dying, their journey. Now, if they want help with that journey, if they say, Billie, I'm struggling spiritually, can you find somebody for me to talk to? We absolutely line that up. However that looks for them, we'll line that up, because that's very important.
So obviously, two different aspects of today's program. We're looking for volunteers to prop up this mission in time for February's training, the 26th and 27th, and then also reaching out to people who may really appreciate the service of Horizon Hospice.
Absolutely. If you have any thoughts that maybe you have someone in your home that could use hospice, or you could use hospice, is all you have to do is pick up the phone and we'll just have an easy conversation. We'll just have a little bit of a talk, and we can see if that's a fit for you.
And are people charged for Horizon Hospice services?
No, that's the beauty, and that's why we call it the community hospice, Horizon Hospice. There is no charge for anything we bring in. We have all kinds of supplies and equipment. We've got a beautiful grant in the last year that has helped us to have walkers, wheelchairs, commodes, just all of this beautiful equipment. So we were really lucky there. We also have a new program called the Compassionate Care Program that's run under that program through the grant, and it helps pay for skilled care at the end of life. I mean, we don't have buckets of money for that, right? It's limited, but we're growing that program, and that is just very beautiful. And what I've found with this program, that who we help through this program is so appreciative. They are the people, they are the folks that have kind of gotten lost or fallen through the cracks. And so if us, our beautiful Elko community, can provide them dignity and grace at the end of their life, I think that is a beautiful mission in any form.
Billie is, of course, the perfect person to talk about a difficult subject, but one that can bring great warmth and love to a family and surround them in their time of need, and that is the services provided by Horizon Hospice in our community. So it sounds as though with the care that you give, compassionate care, and you're able to dispense medication, which can be extremely expensive.
Yeah, we don't dispense it. We will pay for it. And I want to make that clear because we're not nursing, we're not skilled. But we can pay for pain medication at the end of life because you can't be present and you can't die dignified in peace if you're racked in pain. So that's something that we think is a very worthwhile mission also, is to help pay for those pain meds if need.
And so you rely on contributions. If you don't get a federal or a state grant, you must need money.
Yeah, and we have private grants that we've been working with a grant writer, and she's been beautiful and has done just an amazing job helping us. But yeah, we rely on grants. We rely on the beautiful people in our community. The Heritage Fund, that's huge. Our Super Bowl, we try to make that a one-time ask, and that's a great event. And
I know we'll talk about that too, because believe it or not, it's coming right up. I mean, it'll be April before you know it.
It is.
Yes, it's always time to plan for the next one. Horizon Hospice in our community benefits from collaboration. So community spirit, helping loving hearts, but also the reality is that you need to partner with other entities.
Absolutely. And we say it takes a village, right? So we try to partner with whomever we can so we can provide the services that the family or that person needs.
So whether someone needs help, as you said, sometimes people are alone on their own. They've come to the end of life, and this is where hospice can help them with that journey. There might be things like burial expenses, or as you said, medication. But people will be helped. I mean, this is just, it's an incredible thing when you think about that.
Correct. We help pay for pain meds and skilled care, not burial costs, but we can try to get them directed to where they need to go. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there are just so many aspects to end of life, Billie Jean, that I don't think that we think about it until we get older or you have more experience with that. You're caring for loved ones or older people, or even, as you said, friends or neighbors, and suddenly things start to happen, and then you become much more aware of this process.
Yes, and can you imagine being in a big hospital and having all this help and all this hope, and then they say, go home, be comfortable. That's just scary in itself, and a lot of people don't know, what does that mean? Like, am I not going to wake up in the morning? It can create such anxiety and such stress for the families, and that's where we like to come in and help guide those families too, and just help relieve them.
Horizon Hospice in our community, again, looking for volunteers in time for the February 26th and 27th training from 9 a.m. to 3 each day. It's going to be at the Lamoille Highway offices. The number to call to get registered in advance, which is required because you're going to have a lovely lunch and a wonderful breakfast, 775-778-0612, and that will get you to hospice. Well, to Billie Jean, or maybe you have office staff, others to help?
Febriza's there from 9 to 2.
Oh, she is there.
So, yes. So
lovely.
She's there, so you can leave a message for either one of us.
Oh, wonderful, Billie. Thank you. And then this work, as we describe, is being done in homes. And not just the Elko area, right? But you're only as strong as the volunteers in each community.
Absolutely. We need volunteers to help us. And we would love to branch out to some of the outlining areas, but we really do need volunteers. So if you're in an outlining area and you're interested and you have a heart, we could do a training in your area also.
That's right, whether it's in Wells or Carlin, certainly, but some of these communities, they have many lovely people who, just given a chance to take this training, to find out more about how to help, would be able to step up. So help spread the word, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. So Billie Jean Crawford, our guest today, we're talking about the Horizon Hospice services, and there are many things that go on to support families, either in the interim or even after, because that's the other thing is Horizon Hospice doesn't walk away.
No, and we have one-on-one grief work. I'm not a counselor, I'm not a therapist, but I do grief work. I'm a grief educator. And so if you're having some struggles with a death, you can call us. We also have this amazing peer support group, the Horizon Center. It's a peer support group for families, teens, kids, adults, any type of death that you've had. You can be on our doorstep and we'll help lead you through that. We also have taken it into the schools this year, our Good Grief group. So that's been amazing. We don't have a lot of kids that come to the center, so we are just trying to reach out to the schools to help wherever we can, and there's no charge for it.
And Billie, we know that part of the work in our community that needs to be done, overcoming some of the stigma, right? Because we know that some of the most tender hearts, people who have been hurt the most, they're grieving loved ones lost who have died by suicide. And that's why your work is so important too.
Yes, and so it's any type of loss, although the survivors of suicide have their own grief group, but we're going to be there helping support them. I know Lynette, she's a beautiful soul, and we've had a few, I've attended a few of their groups, just beautiful bunch of people. So yeah, we're going to reach out wherever we can.
Mm-hmm. And that is, again, a mention of that kind of collaboration that's going on. And it is important that we reach into our schools and we reach out to young people because they are experiencing both grief and loss, and they need a safe space to be in.
They do, and children and teens grieve differently than adults, and it's hard sometimes to realize that I just learned this, they're kind of like puddle jumpers. They go from one thing to the next, and that's the same as with their grieving. They'll be deep in grief, and then 1 second later, then they're off with their friends or they're playing, and that can be really confusing for adults that are grieving, because sometimes we just get so deep in our grief that we can barely breathe. And I always tell families, like, the kids will come up and say something to you about the death, and it'll make you feel like you were punched in your stomach, and you answer the question, they're like, okay, and they're off playing, and you're like, what just happened? But that's just how children grieve. They just grieve differently.
But they do need that space, right? They do need that trusted person that they can talk to.
They do, and that's what we provide, is just that peer support group, that they're not in the boat alone. Being a child or a teenager, especially, a lot of times you can feel like I'm in this alone. So where we're providing that safe space where they can just say, oh, I'm not alone. This person has felt similar. My heart is there because my father died when I was 8. And so that's propelled me to reach out to the children in our community, because it was a sad thing, and families are grieving and parents are grieving, and it's so hard. They're so deep in their grief, like we talked about, that sometimes the children are unseen. not because they mean to, just because they're deep in their grief. And so if we can provide a space for the whole family, they can come. It's a safe place to talk about the death and just be present.
Horizon Hospice is our community hospice, and Billie Jean Crawford is the director. And Billie Jean, there are also many, many steps in grieving, and there are these phases, but also there's no time limit, and that's what we want to help people understand.
There is absolutely no time limit. People, a lot of time, there's this myth that we get past this year and it's magical and everything's going to be much better. And it really is. Really, there is no time limit, and it's going to learn to fit you differently. Your grief is going to learn to fit you differently. It will probably always be there. Will it be that punched in your stomach grief that you feel at that immediate shock? Possibly not. It's going to ebb and flow. There is not a process that it goes through step 1 to step 5. It's messy. It's like a big ball of twine. You just are trying to navigate this and know that it could pop up at any time, anywhere. Those are called grief bursts, and they happen, and they're okay. And that's what's great about the Horizon Center. We're there for them. So if you came a year ago and then you went and then you felt better, and then maybe Christmas time comes and there's some twinges and you end back up at the grieving center, we're good with that.
And is it important that people experience the grief bursts and that they do maybe seek some companionship?
Absolutely. I think grief, people just want to bury it down and think that grief is a problem. And grief is not a problem to be solved. There's nothing wrong with you if you're grieving. It's a process that you have to go through because of the love that you had for that person, and they're no longer physically here. So you have to kind of figure out what to do with that grief and what to do with that love.
Oh, I had a wonderful Christmas with my daughter, Billie, and I wanted to tell the story because I hope it will help people understand what you just described. Christmas was a big deal for my mom, and she's been gone a long time, Billie Jean, a long time. And so it ebbs and flows, like you said, and sometimes you miss someone or you get a twinge, but it's not this agonizing sort of loss. You know, you become your own person, you try to honor them. So this Christmas, I was sitting at my daughter's house, and I was looking at her Christmas tree, and I was overcome, Billie, because on her tree, there were so many ornaments. She took boxes out of my basement that I had not opened since my mother died, because Christmas was so important to my mom, and I couldn't face the ornaments. It may sound trivial, but...
Well, the ornaments are a linking object. Those are linking memories to your mother.
And so I said, sure, honey, come and get whatever you want out of the basement. So she unpacked those ornaments, and they shone so brightly. They were just glittering. It was just pure joy. And I just thanked her. I said, you brought my mother's spirit back into Christmas, Billie Jean, because I didn't fear that anymore. It became a new emotion.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And that's how, like you said, grief ebbs and flows, and it just will come out of the blue. And you know, we remind people quite often at Christmas that can bring up memories. But, you know, someone that's in deep grief, it doesn't matter if it's a regular Tuesday or if it's a Christmas holiday, they're going to really feel that.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes that emotion, you can let yourself feel the deep, deep grief, but then also it's okay to feel the joy and the renewal and the spirit, the sense of it's okay to let them return in a different way through maybe a loved one or an experience or a sunrise or a sunset.
Absolutely. We have to find some way to connect with the person that's gone before us. That is part of the healing journey of grief, is just figuring out what to do with that love, what to do with those memories. And then pretty soon the memories and the objects aren't quite as painful. Grief and dealing with grief and processing through grief kind of wears off the sharp edges, kind of makes it a little bit smoother.
Billie, thank you so much. And again, just know that if you're listening and you're experiencing any of these kinds of feelings, no matter how long a loved one has been gone, or if this is something recent, if it's something that was anticipated, or something completely out of the blue and unexpected, Billie Jean, you can find comfort in the company of others.
Absolutely. Grief needs to be witnessed and heard and seen, and that's what we can do at the hospice office.
But all you need are volunteers, right?
We do need some volunteers. That would be wonderful.
Yes. So we brought Billie Jean on today so she could talk about, again, this training. Horizon Hospice in our community is an all-volunteer, nonprofit hospice. Any proceeds realized as a result of their efforts goes right back into administering this program. And the training is going to be February 26th and 27th, 9 to 3 both days. And you never know who you're going to meet there, right, Billie Jean?
You never know. They're just so, we've always had just this eclectic, beautiful group of people. I always enjoy it. I love meeting different people and having people come on board with us to help us.
And what about younger people? Do you think there's a place for them?
Absolutely. If they're 18 or older. I know younger people are busy. They have school, they have work. We're age discriminating, right? Everybody's busy. Everybody has jobs and kids and grandkids. And so is what I'm trying to say is we'll honor wherever you're at. If you have an hour or 2 hours a week, we're going to honor that. Mm-hmm. We'll set you up with helping somebody an hour or 2 a week.
And remember, the light of your candle can be used to light someone else's candle, Billie, and we need more of that in our community right now.
Absolutely. Just that helping hand of just being present and helping someone that truly, truly appreciates it.
Mm-hmm. And lifting up the spirits and the efforts of those who are also doing the lifting. We could all use a helping hand. So
we can.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Billie, I want to make sure that we got to the things that you were hoping. Again, this 2-day training is coming up, and it's so important for the community. We hope that anyone listening, you'll spread the word. We'll do everything we can, too, to generate some more information and interest. But there is a big fundraiser that comes up in April, and plans will be laid for that soon.
We are already planning. We're selling tables. I've been on the phone and communicating and bugging all of our sponsors that have given over the years, and that's April 17th. It's our annual fundraiser, our Super Bowl. We have all kinds of things going on that evening. We honor our volunteers. We have music. We have silent auction raffle items, sponsorships. So if you want to help us with that, we're all ears and welcome that.
Billie, thank you so much. We'll have you back, obviously, as many times as you like or need, certainly. But in the meantime, we want to send people your way to Horizon Hospice. Any other aspects of hospice that we haven't emphasized you want to make sure people are aware of?
We talked about the compassionate care program. We talked about the grief groups, volunteer training. So I think we hit everything, but there's always something going on at the hospice office.
Yes, and please lend a helping hand. And maybe you're new to the community. Maybe you have participated in hospice elsewhere. You can always bring new ideas, new energy. Bring your support and your love, because again, we are sort of a medium-sized community, but we still have that small town care and feeling for one another. We just need some more help.
We do. If you want to be the heart of hospice, come and see us.
Billie Jean Crawford is Executive Director of our local Horizon Hospice. They're located on the Moyle Highway at 1250 Suite 413. You can also find them on the socials and call them up, 775-778-0612, whether you'd like to help or you know someone who needs help. Thanks again, Billie.
Thank you, Lori.